Oh, well, when you do it, it's fine because you're just
Live
checking
though.
sound.
Get the share for you.
Looks like Ron will give a few people a few minutes.
I'm gonna start sharing though.
We'll go ahead and let the sow find her way here.
Yeah.
I mean, not being smart enough to. Oh yeah, can I also put out the good news today that you told me last night
What's the good news?
about the YouTube?
Nah, when I did it last night and when as soon as I tried to do it this morning, what you think? I'm gonna show you. I'm gonna show you. I can't
It was
win.
almost a thing.
Man, listen, I can't win, Trevor. I can't win. Good evening, good afternoon, family. Good afternoon. I'm gonna get the pleasantries out the way. The views which you about to hear from Trevor on Trevor Rant is not those of 810. And yes, I have jumped off the plane. I haven't even hopped on.
This man returned his fucking ticket.
Yes, I definitely. I turned around when I seen how he was going to take off. He's on demon time today, and he has good reason. And Renee Jackson, thanks for tapping in with us this gracious afternoon. Let me get my share game on, Trevor.
All right, so Mickey's got his disclaimer out the way. I'll get mine out the way. Ladies and gentlemen, Trevor's Rant is rated R for ranting. Parental discretion is advised. If you got thin skin, get the fuck off. Grab a drink, sit your ass down, and let's go.
This is where I leave.
And he's gone. All right. So let's address some things. Number one, we got to go with counsel. There's a picture of me circulating, standing behind Wentus, flipping off the fucking heifer. There's a reason for that. First and foremost, she was sitting there all night trying to stare Wentus down, trying to instigate a fight. Every time something happened, she was on her feet and that phone pointed right at Wentus, so Wentus didn't get her ass up. So it's going to be known here and now, you fuck with Wentus, you fuck with me, and I'll stand behind her every step of the way. And if you're going to sit there with that fucking smirky-ass Karen smile, I'm going to give you the finger. Because that's the only fucking you're getting. Someone, buy this woman some goddamn batteries, because you know ain't no man touching her. There we go. Now you guys know exactly what kind of time I'm on. But then she let her comments run fucking sideways and wild, saying I look like Charles Manson. All right, I get it. When I look angry, I have a look to me. There's a reason for that. I don't know a single man or woman who, when they get angry, looks like they're fucking giving out lollipops and sunshine. I'm sorry, not everyone here can be Johnny Depp. We all know my face ain't fucking good enough. So when I'm angry, I look it. Oh, he has no compassion or empathy behind those eyes. For someone like Eva, she gets what she deserves. Karma's a bitch. I ain't gonna stand around. Whatever happens to her, happens to her. No, this ain't a threat. This ain't me saying anything is gonna happen to her. But when her name comes up anytime, all I think about now is this woman who talks down to black people. Mind you, my only physical social interaction in this city is with people of African American descent. These are my friends and family that she fucking disparages. She looks down on Wentus. She talks horrible about her. She talks horrible about Mickey. She gives Clack the dirtiest fucking looks. These are people that I deeply care about. But she won't turn a glance my way or toward Dawn. Why? Because she's intimidated. I don't know what her husband did to her, and by God, if he touched her, I'm sorry. However, that ain't me. If you have a problem with some people, make sure it's not because of their skin color, because that's what it seems to be with her. The first thing, anytime anyone speaks, you can tell by the look on her face. When they get up to that podium, if they're a black person, her head is down. If they're a white person, her head is up. Unless it's me or Dawn, then it's back down. She's got a tiered strata of people she don't like. At the top of that list is anyone with some pigment in their skin. Then underneath that is white people who really don't care about skin color. I love everyone equally. And then underneath that is people who disagree with her. I happen to fall into two of those fucking categories. Mickey and Winters fall into 3. I and calling me a drug addict. Okay, you see me have a drink periodically. You want to know how often I drink outside this show? Never. Now, if you had called out that I'm addicted to caffeine and nicotine, shit, you got me there. I guess you could say those are mind altering drugs. But I'm willing to go anytime, anywhere, take a piss test, give you blood sample, give you hair sample, just like Eric Mace said, because you don't catch me outside my right mind. I don't take pills. Hell, I'm in chronic pain every day of my life. I've got nerve damage. I don't take pills. But I thought I'd throw this out of the way so you know when I'm saying what I say today, it comes from the heart and it's truthful and honest. But I decided to write up a little list here. The sins of Eva Worthing. But don't worry, she's not the only one cuz let's be honest here. If I were to go an hour in on Eva Worthing, she'd probably do something horrible to herself and I don't want to be responsible for that. We're already getting rid of her tubby ass in May. We don't need any more. It's soon enough. I can wait a few months. Let her go, be a teacher, whatever. We all know that the only reason she came onto that council is because she was financially destitute. She thought that 20K a year would be enough to get her and her kids through because her teacher's salary wasn't cutting that. And I want you to keep that in mind, that the 20K plus her teacher's salary, that's her only reported income, ladies and gentlemen. Keep that in mind for a minute. Keep that in the back because we're going to come back to that. The sins of Eva go pretty far. This woman has assaulted members of the crowd. She has straight up struck people, and not just people, people in the community who many know. Let that sink in. If you disagree with her, it is okay in her mind to assault you. If you disagree with her, it is okay in her mind to incite you to violence or to harass and bully you, such as she did with Jerry. It wasn't about a fucking parking spot, it was about the disrespect. It was about intentionally showing that she can do whatever she wants because she will see no fucking consequences. Now, I'm sticking up for Jerry for many reasons. First and foremost, she's a good person in my book. Mind you, the only way you can determine if someone's a good person or not, don't listen to what they say about themselves, listen to what others say about them. I've always been straight up and honest with my character. I let you know any flaw I have ahead of time. I am not a perfect man. I look at Jerry and I think that is someone that I look up to. So I see this fucking sow sit there and fucking try to bully her and show her superiority. I think Jerry was right. Actually, Jerry, next time, don't give her a warning. Just pop the fucking tires. Good God, you know the suspension's already riding low on that motherfucker. Her constant, and I do mean constant breaking of Council Rule 26.2. Now, any other person up there, sorry, any of our 4 up there, the ones that actually listen to us, even so much as glance at an audience member sideways, they've broken 26.2. But Eva can sit up there all day long. She can make comments such as the Amen Choir. Strange that, isn't it? She just insulted an entire chunk of that audience in a racially derogatory manner, if you ask me. Because you go to a white church, let's be honest, we're quiet. We'll sing our hymns, whatever. You don't have people shouting out amen. Different in culture. Okay. But she decided to point that out when she called an entire group of black people the Amen Choir. Tell me I'm wrong. Someone tell me that I am fucking wrong right now. I'm not. I'm not even telling no lies either, am I? Weird. But this woman has got a fucking serious problem with herself. She's got some self esteem issues. Her husband left her. So sad. Left her with the kids. Pretty bad. Not gonna lie. I feel for many single mothers in that position. But then I see Eva and I see her attitude and the way she moves and the way she talks to people and the way she treats people. And I have to wonder, why did her husband leave? and you see the damage this has done to her. She went and got a stomach band surgery, a lap band. So she thinks it's because of her weight. Let me tell you something, guys. I've been in some relationships with women who were of the plus size. If you truly care about someone, their appearance doesn't matter. This man cared about her at one point enough to marry her and sire two children. Do you think her size really mattered? But it's done something to her head. She thinks that he left her for the weight. No, it's her attitude. She will sit there and provoke you. She will sit there and metaphorically fuck you in the ass without lube. And then she will treat you like it's your fault. That abusive type of behavior. And he probably got tired of it and just bounced. I can't deal with this no more. Kids, I love you to death, but I can't take your mother. She is killing me slowly. She is worse than bacon. She's worse than alcohol. She's worse than cigarettes. So I hope that he's still in the kids' lives. But by God, him getting away from her might be a price worth paying. I learned that shit in my first divorce, ladies and gentlemen. Sometimes you have to lose everything just to get something. That victim complex of hers is fucking horrifying to me. Because the way that she will sit there and poke and antagonize, just her little point of order, fuck you, is exactly what she says every time she comes out with that. Don't worry, I'll translate. So Tanya can be sitting there on a roll, and she just wants to get that last word in. She's got that fucking mental tick, that last word. I have to say something. Fuck you. That victim complex is why so many of us look at her and will give her the grief that we fucking give her. If you want to be the victim, I will help you be one. No problem. Once again, everything is verbal. Because if I don't say that right now, she's going to say, he threatened me. Oh, she tried saying in that picture, he threatened me by flipping her off. No, the hell I didn't. Let me be honest. If I were to threaten someone, I'm going to be a lot more visceral. I'm going to be a lot more explicit. And I'm going to do it where no one's going to hear it. If I'm in public, I'm not threatening people. Honestly, I'd rather just go into action rather than let the enemy know what I'm about to do. Same reason I don't use blinkers on the road. Never let the enemy know what you're doing. So let's come back to something real quick. That lap band surgery. Do any of you know how much that cost? Anyone? A lap band surgery is an elective surgery, by the way, so most insurances won't cover it because it doesn't necessarily help improve your health. It isn't there to help you be healthy, live longer, X, Y, or Z. It is purely a cosmetic procedure. It's to help your looks. A lap band surgery is between $9,000 and $18,000. It is for people with a BMI over 40 or 100 pounds overweight. Now let's roll back for a second. What's Eva's only two stated sources of income? She's a teacher. Teachers are chronically underpaid. And she's on council that earns $20,000 a year. How did she afford this? See, we constantly tag on to Liddell and onto Quincy for the things they have taken from Ashley, or in Liddell's case, Ashley and the ARPA funds. But I don't think any of us really paid attention to that soft-spoken pig that we'd all like to forget exists. Is this how Ashley got her vote? Is this her payoff? I want to hear her explain how she came up with between $9,000 and $18,000. You see, Eva, I've been very nice to you. I've been extremely nice. But the other day, you crossed some lines when you went after my friends. I can care less what you said about me, but I'll mention it just because it gives me something to talk to that pertains to your fucking character or lack therein of. That ladies and gentlemen, is the biggest question I have, though. How did she afford this? Because we are constantly calling out the others for corruption, but we didn't pay enough attention to the pig in the room. I'm sorry. The elephant in the room. I'm sorry. The fat lady. Fuck. There is no analogy that fits her that won't get me in trouble with on terms and conditions. But you know what? It's fine. This one can be taken down. It's out there. Someone's recording. I'm not saying we'll take it down.
Yeah.
And she's going to sit there. She's going to sit there and say, he made a horrible video about me. Except every time you've taken a video on council, you've always shown the worst light of your counterparts. You've incited violence. You've stood over people. And let's not even bring race into this one, because she does that enough. It's always pointed out. But the second that a woman over 250 pounds stands above another woman of far lesser weight and far shorter and says, get up, let's fight. Let me tell you something, Eva. I know you're a super hardcore blue hair, white savior liberal. So you don't watch combat sports very often. Do you know why there's fucking weight classes? And you are at least 3 classes outside of Tanya's when it comes to weight. And then you decide to try to provoke Jerry. Jerry's far more level-headed. She'll let you fucking have it verbally. But we all know you can push Tanya's buttons just right. You tried doing it with Jerry, and all you got was, I'm gonna pop your tires. You had to come up with something for that. Oh, let's censor her. Oh my God. She threatened my tires. I mean, the only reason she's concerned about her tires is because she can't afford it on her teacher's salary, but somehow she is able to afford a several $1,000 surgery. Shit, that surgery is more expensive than my fucking truck. I told you guys, I'm on bad timing today. And that's just the Eva segment. I gave her 17 minutes of my fucking time. Let's see if she wants to go for another 45. Keep talking. Because next I'm going to call your parenting into question. Keep talking. She's not the only member of council, though. We got Liddell. Liddell, who will sit there, and she's trying to take a page out of Eva's book, try to garner that sympathy. I've got a sore throat tonight. Shut up, Maze! Oh, someone's already calling to yell at Mickey. Just remember, guys, everything that comes out of my mouth is me. Mickey just provides me a place to say it. But Liddell will sit there and try to act the victim as well. Oh, I'm just trying to keep these meetings in order. No, the fuck you're not. You're trying to silence all opposition. Dennis called it right. You act like you're in North Korea. Except after the last council, all I can think about is when Hitler dissolved the Reichstag? The German parliament. Because that is exactly what you're doing. You just kicked a man out of his seat. You just used your power as city council president to push forward a resolution into Kim's office. Kim won't take responsibility for it because he knows what libel is. But he also knows I get paid $100,000 a year. I'm just going to kind of go with it. And I can't really blame the man. $100,000 a year. He's been working that seat for how long? I may not agree with him professionally, and I definitely don't agree with him calling the cops himself, especially on the crowd and on Maze. But when it comes to some of the things he does, being pushed into it for that money, I can understand it. But he's not going to fucking put himself out there for you. You just saw that. When it was called and you were asked, who wrote this? You said, well, Attorney Kim did. Bill said, no, the fuck I didn't. That is all on Council President Liddell Lewis. She's taken $50,000 from the ARPA funds, or trying to. She will get it. She's taken bribes from Ashley Capital. She has assaulted Eric Mays. And I don't know if too many of you guys remember this, but I think it was 2 months ago. She got up out of her seat to go do something while Judy was chairing. This is the same night that she was uh, removed as chair of the meeting, but still got to attend the meeting. She had it in for Eric. She got up, came down to the audience, went to the back, spoke with the administration, came back up, and she didn't bump Maze's chair. She took her whole wide ass and slammed it into Maze's chair. Why? Because she knew nothing would happen to her because she has those 5 votes. Remember, to get anything done on that council, you need 5 votes. So we all know that the Fantastic Four don't have it. You can't censor her. And if Quincy and Eva don't show up, you don't need 5 votes to shoot down a resolution. You need 5 votes to pass it. So she can do as she damn well pleases. And I know, guys, I'm being crass and crude. I'm angry. And I'm taking it out on these guys for sins they've committed in the past. And we'll get into what has gotten me so heated at the end. But we're going to drag them all through the mud that they have fucking created first. How about weaponizing the police against us? We saw Miss Patrick in the back stand up and scream at Dennis. Scream at him. A whole 5-sentence tirade. But, and I'll be honest with you guys, what happened with, mind you, I don't really get along with Rich. He said some things on his podcast, and his partner has said some things about me. I try not to bring it up. Number one, I don't like perpetuating the fight. Number two, because I'm not going to give them space on my time. However, what happened with Rich, Mr. Jones, he was trying to get Sister Audrey Muhammad's attention. His voice was heard. Sister Audrey Muhammad replied to him loudly as to what was happening up on the council dais. And that because Rich spoke first, he got that warning. And then Sister Audrey Muhammad said, "No, if you have a problem with it, I spoke louder." But Rich has a voice that carries. Let's be realistic here, folks. Some voices carry further than others. Eric Mays is a living, breathing testament to that. That man can breathe and you can hear him a block away. Rich Jones has a voice that carries. And because he's the one that's been out among Beverly Biggs, among myself, now among Eric Mays, now among Dewan, among Arthur Woodson, who was out and getting signatures to recall Liddell Lewis. She wanted to make a point and example of him. So she tried giving him a warning so he couldn't be in there. Sister Audrey Muhammad thankfully stepped in because she don't care. She's not recording. She's going to make her voice heard. She is a proud and strong woman, and she's not going to let someone else take the heat when she's letting council know her mind. I'm very proud to know Sister Audrey Muhammad. So she started, Renee, she's been targeting Rich. And like I said, I may not get along with the man, but right is right and wrong is wrong. She has been targeting him for the past 3 months. In the middle of council, she will call out, "Rich Jones, silence your phone. Rich Jones, that is a warning. Rich Jones," every time. Lately, she's gotten a little bit more respectful with it. "Mr. Jones." Now, I don't know what's wrong with saying, "Excuse me, you in the audience, right there, third seat from the left, second row back." That is a warning. It'd actually be better for her to say, "You, third seat from the left, second row back, could you please quiet down? I'm asking you to come into order." But no, she goes straight to that warning. She's trying to get certain people out. She wants Rich gone. Why? To prove, to bully him with her political power because she's in that seat right now, not him, not Maurice, not anyone else, not Sister Audrey Muhammad. Mind you, all three of those names I just mentioned have either been in that seat or have run for that seat or are saying they're running for that seat. She is intentionally targeting them down. She does it on council. She goes after May. She goes after Tanya. She goes after Jerry. She goes after Dennis. She goes after people in the audience that she doesn't like. Jones, Sister Audrey Muhammad, Davis, at times Wentis. When Wentis was writing an obituary, her head down, her mouth shut. The only thing you could hear from her was a pen scratching paper as she is writing a heartfelt goodbye in memories of someone that she dearly loved. And she gets a warning because someone in her general vicinity within 15 meters spoke. And she doesn't fucking apologize for it when she's wrong. She doesn't take it back. And you have to fight to get those undone. She doesn't go, never mind, I'm sorry. I'm going to take that warning back. No, Eric or Dennis or Tanya or Jerry have to appeal, have to get a second, have to go through the entire process, and they'll still vote 5-4 to keep that fucking that warning in place, even though it is misplaced. Hey Jeff, you walked in. If you don't like a lot of cussing and a lot of angry, I just turn around, close the door behind you, buddy. I like you. Let's go ahead and have a second one before I start talking about Quincy. And you guys know I'm probably going to break my own rule tonight and get disinvited from a Christmas party. So might as well make it worth it. Renee, look, just because myself and Rich don't get along doesn't mean I can't call out when things wrong are done to him. Honestly, when he does right, I'll call him out on doing right. When he does wrong, I'll call him out on doing wrong. But when wrong is done to him, I will call that out. Because if you don't stand up for what is right, if you don't stand up for what you believe is right, then you might as well not believe in anything at all. That's the fucking deal. I've had soldiers in the past that I have absolutely despised under, I can't even say command because I'm not an officer, but in my team who I was in charge of. But when they were accused of something falsely, I'd stand up for them. And if I can't bring that sort of personality, that sort of fucking drive into my civilian and personal life, then I learned nothing as a soldier. I get it. There's a lot of controversy around the wars I fought in. But when most of us signed up, we thought we were doing the right thing. And it's good to keep that kind of energy in our lives. So let's go with Quincy. Quincy taking multiple bribes from Ashley Capital. An $11,000 lawnmower, several $1,000s in gift cards. And he says he gave those gift cards out, help people for Christmas, be the great councilman. In my mind, that's just buying votes. But, fuck me. I just must be a stupid fucking redneck, right? A stupid goddamn hillbilly hick. What the fuck do I know? Except I do know that those cards were never tracked. So we don't know how many of those he gave out, if any. You may see one or two people come on up and say, oh, Councilman Murphy gave me a gift card. Okay, how many more did he keep in his back pocket? How many more did he give out exclusively to his family and friends? Think about it. Multiple bribes from Ashley Capital. And then he's using one of those bribes to go out and make himself more money. Now he's charging people to cut their lawn with a lawnmower from Ashley Capital, $11,000 fucking Mercedes-Benz Bentley of lawnmowers. Damn thing's got Bluetooth connectivity. He's making himself more money on the side with that. At this point, Quincy, you're making so much money and you're getting so much shit. Are you going to be able to retire soon from council? I can tell you, we'd all be very, very happy with that. But he says people tried to intimidate him. However, when Ms. Beverly Biggs said something that she believed about him, honestly, I don't think she was correct in her assumption, but I believe she thinks she is correct. And she has the right to say it. She has the right to assume it. Not assume. We'll say she has the right to believe what she believes and to voice her opinion on the matter. Mind you, in our comments, Monday through Friday, I stand up in a way for Quincy. I don't allow people to talk about his sexuality. I don't allow people to talk about if he may have ailments. I will shout you down. I don't like when people call him Queen Quincy, things of that sort, because that has nothing to do with his political career. If the man's gay, the man's gay. Love who you love. Right? But this man goes out and makes so much money. He collects money. He gets gifts. He fucking bullies and tries to extort businesses in his ward. On a political level, he is corrupt and dirty. When he was called out for that exact thing, this past meeting, being given those gift cards, being given that lawnmower, he asked the one thing that I can only attribute to a criminal mindset: can you prove it? He doesn't deny it because he knows if he denies it, it goes on a record, a public record, and then that will be shown in court. So what does he do? Can you prove it? Let me tell you something. When I was younger, I got in trouble with cops a lot. Nothing major, nothing terrible. Instead of asking the cops, can you prove it or you don't have nothing? Flat out deny or don't reply. No, people who are confident in their criminal behavior say, can you prove it? Because he knows nothing will happen. Because the cops are controlled by Neely, who is his friend, because he is pushing Neely's agenda. The county won't do anything. Why? Because they're tied in with the city of Flint, who is tied to Neely. The state, what's the state going to do? Remember, they're controlled by Whitmer. What does Whitmer control? State police or the State Bureau of Investigation. And who did she endorse in the last mayoral election? Neely. We don't got any help coming here, folks. We have to stand up for ourselves. So when Mays was being escorted out, the first thing I saw was that white cop do this, saying, throw him in cuffs. They walked to the back room. Everything was explained. Okay, you're being arrested. Who called? Attorney Kim and Eva Worthing. Okay. And I can just assume what Eric Mays told those cops. I'm 60 something years old. I'm retired. I'm tired. You don't need no cuffs. I'm not gonna argue with you. I'll walk out with you. Okay, we got you, Mr. Mays. They walk him out. But when everyone stood up and I won't say rushed, walked toward the dais to let their words be known, let their outrage be known, that is the first step. That is how we let them know that we are displeased because they aren't hearing us at public speaking. I spoke on that. I called them out for putting their heads down and not looking at us. I called them out for not listening to us. Why the fuck do they have public speaking in the first place? Don't worry, they taken care of that. So we have to make them hear us. And how do we do that? Exactly the way we did this week. I'll be honest, my more rational side took over. I walked up to Clack. I put my hand on his shoulder. I said, Clack, don't get too close to that. And I walked back into the side. I was actually standing next to Attorney Kim's desk. I wonder how freaked out Eva would have been had she known that City Hall is no longer a gun-free zone. And Mickey's back out the airplane. Why ain't he in jail? I just explained it, Mr. Ronald. Because any sort of law enforcement is controlled by someone who is either Neely or close ally of Neely. But now I have to let these council members know something. In politics, there's no such thing as friends. There's only interest. And as soon as you are no longer part of Neely's interest, he's going to hang you out to dry. Hell, you see it with Eva. When he lost interest in her because he still has a 4-4 tie, even without Eva there, or he's going to try to slip in a new candidate that is slightly more liked than her, then he's still got his 5 votes. He doesn't need Eva. She is too much of a liability at this point. In politics, you do not have friends, you have interest. And when when the recall comes through on Liddell, he's going to try to slip someone else in there. And they're going to try to go forth and put out black literature again, dark literature, dark money, whatever you want to call it, illegal literature. They're going to drag everyone through the mud that Neely doesn't like. So keep your eyes out, ladies and gentlemen. You're going to see things talking about Maurice Davis. You're going to see things talking about Sister Audrey Muhammad if she goes on that ballot. You're going to see things talking about Rich Jones if he isn't on that ballot, or if he is on that ballot. And these are not going to be paid for by any campaign or political action committee. They're just going to be printed up and spread around, put in your mailbox, put on your door, or dropped at your local fucking convenience store. And you're not going to know who did it, but we all know it ties back. Oh, I'm still not done with Quincy. My God. How about when he called Tanya a bitch? Now, I'm new to a lot of things. See, where I grew up, a guy was being a bastard. A guy was being a dick. You called him a bastard. A female was being a dick. You call her a bitch. Here, you don't do that so much. It is a grievous sin, a grievous insult. But Quincy went ahead and did it when he thought his microphone was off, and it is caught on video. Not only can I read lips because I have to because I'm hard of hearing, but you could also hear it picking up on other people's mics. And when he was called out about that, what was his response, ladies and gentlemen? Point of order or point of information. Can you prove it? The same thing. Why? Because he knows it's not going to be investigated. If someone does pull up the video, it'll instantly be called ungermane, and they'll dismiss it. Candace hasn't been there for very long either. But remember, when she did first get there, she was that deciding vote for Ashley Capital. She was brought in explicitly for that. That was her payoff, that extra $20,000 for being on council, annual, so it gets prorated to however long she's been there. So that's extra money in her pocket. That is probably the second biggest payoff that we've seen on this so far. And then now she has voting power on her own 501c3, asking for $350,000 from the ARPA funds, $350,000. Just for a vote to let Ashley Capital in. And don't get me wrong, personally, I have nothing against Ashley Capital developing that land and bringing in businesses. That's all fine and dandy, but the dirtiness behind it is what gets me. And then the fact that we have to give up $72 million of our own tax revenue is what gets me. I'm all for everyone in the city moving forward, not just a few interest, a few rich folks. Instead, we're taking out of our own taxes to give to Ashley Capital so they can capture the money that they're supposedly going to lose on this to redevelop that land. They're leaving us in the dust. I want us all to improve our way of life, our fucking livelihood. I want us all to come up a tax bracket or two making that much money, not just a few. And that is exactly what happened with Ashley here. A few people got large payouts, and Ashley Capital gets $72 million in the end, basically developing that land and building those buildings for free while they rent them out. Oh, and on the backside, collateral damage. This isn't even their main point. This isn't even something that they care about. It's so beneath them. It raises the taxes of everything around it, pushing more of us out. When Maurice Davis has been calling for freezing the taxes of those disabled, on fixed income, and retired. This is the sort of thing he's talking about. Because how many people are going to be displaced? How many more homes are going to be sold while they're occupied? How many people are going to go from homeowner to renter because of this? Because of people like Candace, because of people like Quincy, like Liddell, like Eva. They don't speak for you. They don't work for you. They work for someone else on the back end getting paid for it. They are in it for themselves. These aren't representatives. They're fucking puppets. They're talking pieces. Everything that the administration puts forward, these five vote in sequence to give it to them. Why do we have a city council in the first place? Just cede that power to the mayor. Stop pulling our chain. Stop giving us hope that someone's actually listening to us. Because I've got 4 voices up there, but 4 is not as big as 5, and 5 is all you need. I've got Dennis, I've got Jerry, I've got Tanya, and I've got Maze. Oh, bye, Maze, for the next 3 months. So I've got 3 voices up there. And let's not forget, there have been times where I haven't agreed with Dennis and I've called him out on it. And there have been times where I've not agreed with Jerry and I've called her out on it. But on the whole and whole, they were actually willing to sit down and talk with me. They're willing to sit down and talk with us, with Wintus, with Mickey, with you, with me, with anyone to explain their point and why they voted the way they voted because they had that kind of integrity. Whereas we got 5 people who, if you question their vote, you are immediately put out of a meeting. You're immediately on a hit list. You're immediately persona non grata. She got censored, Phil. Jeff, I haven't heard anything about it. I do know that Maze is out right now working with Ms. Bev Biggs. They met up at 11 a.m. over on Flushing, gathering people. So they probably didn't leave till about noon. Then they've moved into the second ward and they're knocking door to door. Maze is using his cult of personality to draw attention to it. Dwan, once again, someone that I have not agreed with in the past, but call him out for doing right, is out there right now using his connections to try to get more people to sign these things. We're trying to get them in before the 29th of December so we can get Liddell Lewis on the May ballot. But guess what? There's a deadline to be on these ballots. And the deadline is about to be missed for Candace. The 7th Ward will not have an elected voice in May. She's probably going to have to go on the August ballot because if they miss that one, then there's a lot more eyes looking. These people not only are trying to reduce debate on topics that we ask to know about, because debate between them is the best way for us to gather knowledge. Because if you read these resolutions in paper when you get there, any and all things necessary to do X, Y, or Z. What is any and all things? So I have to hear it. We have to hear it while we are in council when Maze or Jerry or Tanya or Dennis is asking the hard questions. Because what you get is Liddell, Quincy, Judy, Candace, or Eva calling for the question just to pass it on. There is no discussion. They've already been told ahead of time what it is. They've already talked to each other ahead of time to see how they're going to vote. Well, I'm voting yes on this. You need to vote yes on this. We are voting yes on this. We are voting no on this. Whereas the other 4 come in open minded. They hear how it's fucking us. And they say, hey, at least give him some lube. But they've taken Maze out of the equation. They've censured Tanya and Jerry. They're about to censure Dennis because he said ass. Willing to bet? Anyone willing to bet? Then they get, after that, it goes into a kicking out of council for X amount of days, removed from seat. You're in detention. You are suspended. And they're going to work methodically through the rest of the 3. The only reason that they didn't consent to allowing Dennis or Jerry or Tanya on that is because it'd be too blatant when they vote for it. They have to at least pretend. But now they've reduced debate from time allotted per issue, 1 round for X amount of time. They've reduced debate when it comes to appeals. Only the person who is appealing, the appellate, and the council president get to speak instead of everyone weighing in with their opinion and why X and X should happen. Because they want to pull the wool over your eyes. They want to do things in the dead of night when no one is paying attention. And they say it's because they want to get out of there quickly. But 1 through 9, I fucking promise you, you knew what you were getting into when you ran. I want to go home before 10. Oh, I work nights. Oh, I got kids. Then maybe you shouldn't have ran because you know how these things work. This is not a new thing. Flint has been like this for a while. There is passionate and heated debate, or there was. Now you've silenced that. And then when it comes to public speaking, they've cut our time down. Remember, we're the ones that pay for all of this. It comes out of our taxes. It comes out of our fines. It comes out of our water bill. Hell, it comes out of our sales taxes. Or how about this? Because half the city's budget comes from the state, it comes out of our state taxes. Oh, the ARPA funds, that came out of our federal taxes. Everything that this city pays for and does is done by you and me. It doesn't matter if you live in Flint. The ARPA funds are still your money. It came from you. And when we speak up about it, when we constantly call them out for their abusing of something that's supposed to be beautiful, a 501c3 nonprofit, something there to help people and not enrich yourself. Instead, they bastardized it and perverted it. When we call them out on that, they reduce our time to talk about it. I am beyond disgusted. I'm beyond let down. And then you hear them talk about this is democracy. Is this what democracy looks like? Silencing political dissent, silencing political opponents, cowing people. What I saw, we saw Metcalf when we entered. Then I saw 2 plainclothes cops in the back. And when I talked to the shorter white guy with the beard, I said, so you guys expecting trouble tonight? Nah, man, we're just here because we want to attend council. With your body armor and weapon? And then when something pops off, they call 4 or 5 more cops. That's the fucking Gestapo. That's the fucking secret police. Those are that kind of tactics. And we are seeing it here in America in 2023. This is the same shit the KGB used to do in Soviet Russia. And here I thought fascism died in 1945. But we see it being openly practiced and openly celebrated here in Flint in 2023, going into 2024. And color me surprised, but it isn't by some fucking skinheads and fucking button-up shirts. It's by people that look like you and me. It's by people with regular haircuts, wearing regular clothes, and they're sitting there championing this. How the fuck can this be America today, guys? I am beyond disgusted. I am angry. I am hurt because these are people that were supposedly elected to represent you. They're doing something with an R to you. It ain't representing. They're repressing you. They are holding you down. They are keeping you from talking. They are keeping you from making the points that you need to make all of our lives better. They are there to kick us out of our own city, out of our own homes. I wasn't born here. I didn't grow up here. But I owe this city absolutely everything because they gave me my wife, my children, and now, aside from my brother, my only living family. And it gets hard fighting like this all the time. Because at the end of the day, I know I can only shout so much. I can only do so much. I can only knock on so many doors myself. And at the end of the day, if it isn't for the few that go out and do it, nothing would get done at all. If you don't live in Flint, I encourage you to start paying attention to your own city, to your own city council, to your own mayor, and keep an eye out for this and don't let it get as bad as it has here. Use us as the example of what you don't want. Let your friends and neighbors know. If you see something a little jinky, let them know. Call it out. Ring the alarm bell. Because if you let it snowball, it turns into this. At the end of the day, no one is coming to help. We are alone. All we have are people who are willing to stand up and be beaten down for it. I can't go out walking today with Maze, Dewan, Ms. Bev Biggs, Rich Jones. Because after Eva put out that photo of me and all of her flunkies came flooding in, someone was outside my house last night taking pictures and videoing. And they went on the side of the house that had my daughter's bedroom. So for right now, my daughter is at my mother-in-law's house until I get back home. But to keep my family safe, I have to stay at home when not necessary. They found a way to silence me in a way. Now, I'll be honest with you guys. Whoever it was, I hope they turned around and now you know why I own firearms. Because if that person was planning on being a threat to my family, I was going to be a threat back. I'm angry. I'm scared. I'm hurt. And I'm not just scared for my own safety or my family's safety. To be honest, if they're going to fuck with anyone from 810, I'm glad it was my house. Because let's face it, I've got the tools to deal with it in more ways than one. I'm scared for my city. I'm scared of what this is turning into. I'm scared of where we're going. Inside 5 years, this will be a ghost town. All the old folks will either be driven into retirement homes, driven out, or dead because they froze to death on the streets because their homes were taken. Because there's no place new going up for people like you and me, people who make less than $80,000 a year, but that's somehow affordable. That's not affordable for us because what they're doing isn't for us. For the most part, they're going to take Flint, reduce it down to downtown, put up a couple apartments there. Everything else is going to belong to Genesee County or to Beecher or to one of the other towns surrounding us. And they're going to take that and turn it into an industrial park because Flint is a problem now. The people of Flint are the blight they want to remove. Flint is dying. Our water still isn't good, as Art pointed out. You may start off as a class 1. They do the lead testing there. But they come back 6 months later, "Oh, you're class 2, we can't do it again." So they aren't really monitoring the lead levels, they're just shifting the goalpost. They're still poisoning us here, and they're making sure that we don't get any help. When the ARPA funds came, they could not stop that. They could not stop that because that came from Congress. But what they could do is stop it from coming to you and me. So what they do, they had every person available that was loyal to them set up a 501c3 nonprofit. And they had every one of them apply for outrageous amounts of money. Even some that didn't apply still got awarded money instead of them finding a way to improve the quality of life for the citizens of Flint. There are 9 people up on city council. If we assume each one of them has 2 brain cells, that is 18 brain cells. How hard is it to say, "You, citizen, you have a problem with your house. Go talk to contractor." Contractor gives you a quote. You bring that quote to City Hall. City Hall cuts you a check for X amount that says pay to the order of company for repairs on X person's house. How hard is that? Because then you don't have to worry about the citizens using that money for wrong or whatever your fear may have fucking been. No, it goes straight to the company for the work to be done to improve someone's life. Because I tell you what, when I was walking and I was knocking on doors, I went down Liddell Street. Actually, me and Art, that is the first street we stopped at. We walked right by her house, and her next door neighbor had a blue tarp. That damn Sarvis Park that she's always dumping money into, on the far side, there is a burned out building. I'm so glad the kids can play in this nice clean park while looking at the city fucking fall down around them. They couldn't divvy out those funds to improve the city of Flint. They are working on certain areas of town to demolish because they don't want people moving back in there. Remember their green zone ordinances. You your house were to burn down, the lot is too small for you to rebuild it. You have to leave. Ladies and gentlemen, I implore you right now. If you live in Flint or if you know someone that lives in Flint, doesn't matter what ward they live in, reach out to Beverly Biggs. Try to get yourself or your friends or your family to walk with her. If you're in the second ward, go ahead and sign and walk. If you're in the first, the third, the fourth, the fifth, the sixth, the seventh, the eighth, the ninth, you can hold that clipboard. You can knock on doors. You don't have to be a resident of the second ward to collect the signatures. We need a movement. Candace so far isn't going to be on the May ballot. We need Liddell there. Eva, we need gone, but we need to make sure that whoever is coming in to replace her isn't just as money grubby as she is. We need to get rid of Quincy. We need to get rid of Liddell. And I'll tell you, Judy's already thinking of retiring. I can't speak ill on my family. You guys already know that. But I think you're getting the message. We need people who will actually listen to us. This is a call to action. We need help. Mickey, go ahead and sign us out, man.